both so much for being here. Hailey Rice and James Wiersma from Apartment List. Yeah. I've been an Apartment List fan for so many years. In fact, I have some very good friends there. My friend Sarah works on your marketing team.
Oh, Sarah King.
Yeah,
she's the best.
Wonderful.
The best.
Yeah, she's so good.
So good. So creative.
Yeah.
Our marketing team, I always feel like surprises us. I feel like they always come up with these big, colorful, creative campaigns that just spice it up.
Yeah, they do such a good job. The aesthetic and the branding is always perfect.
Yeah.
You even have the purple pants. Of course. And the purple shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed, James. I noticed.
Do it.
So this feels like a weird, well, actually, before I get into this, can you tell us about your roles at Apartment List?
Yeah, sure. So I oversee our enterprise sales department here at Apartment List. I've been with Apartment List for almost 8 years. I was actually hired by Mr. Wiersma, so I'll pass our little mic.
Okay. And I am the industry principal for our company, which entails a lot. But just being in this industry for not too long, but I've had the luxury and the privilege to work in this industry for 15, 16 years now. And just kind of leveraging the knowledge and the relationships that we've built over the years and just applying it and helping out people that come on board and the industry as a whole as well. So.
Awesome. This seems like a silly question to ask because we all know what Apartment List is, but if anyone's been living under a rock, can you just give us the quick down low on what Apartment List is?
Yeah, of course. We're an online ILS. So the thing about us is we're a pay per move-in provider, which is really nice for ROIs and for ownership groups. And we actually have a fully integrated AI tech solution in with our product. So not only can we build your marketing funnel and fill the leads, we don't have to drown your online leasing team with low intent leads or leads that aren't ready to move or date yet. We can kind of nurture those and get them ready to tour and ready to call. So we give the benefit to our partners, but we take the heat off of their on-site team and really pre-qualify those leads before they're ready.
I used to use Apartment List. I was on the operator side for years and was using Apartment List. Appreciate you doing that. And you purchased a few years ago a company called Different, which is your AI tool that is primarily nurturing those leads. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, for sure. So it turns out we were Different's biggest client because as a pay-for-performance supplier, we tend to send a lot of leads. So that's the number one
you're trying to get those conversions.
Yes, we're still a business and to make money. So we acquired this AI company to help nurture these leads, as Hailey mentioned. And we had a kind of a precursor product we called Leah Light, or it had several names coming up.
Yeah. We love a rebrand.
Of course.
Oh,
who doesn't?
Tailored her down. We got it. We wanted it.
And so it turned into a full-blown version once we acquired this AI company, and we were allowed to kind of introduce it as our own, still kind of separate entities, because we know there's a lot of question marks around data and data privacy and sharing data between companies. And since Different works with all clients, in all sources, there's definitely going to be that concern of data sharing and whatnot. So leaving the two separate and kind of, operating as two separate entities and allowing Different to kind of, tell their story of how they can work and nurture leads across all sources and all channels. And Apartment List still leveraging the AI component to work Apartment List leads only, but it's definitely evolved, and we've helped, clients, leverage the two tools together to where it's an obvious win-win for both parties.
It's nice working with two companies that are part of the same company because the integrations are going to be perfection, I'm assuming. So tell me a little bit about there's a lot of ILSs, obviously. And it's kind of what sets you apart is you are pay per lease, so pay per performance. But what's the experience like on Apartment List that's different from any of the other shopping experiences for renters?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we at Apartment List, we have two customers. We're a full marketplace. So where James and I will always talk about our supply side and PMCs and the management companies, we have half of our business that looks at our customer as renters. And we're constantly moving is such a pain in the butt. And renting is even more of a pain. There's more renters than ever before. There's more supply coming on site than ever before, just in the market. So we're always trying to think of how we can make this experience easier for a renter. And that's why instead of just being more geo focused of like, hey, you want to move to Napa, which like who wouldn't?
I do.
Same.
I'll look at apartment list
yes,
later.
thank you. I'll live everywhere. Instead of just putting that in and then seeing my results, that's a really big burden to put on the renter. And people in this industry, you think you know what you want until you start shopping. It's just like Amazon. Like how often are you like, you came to buy this and what's in your cart and you execute with this totally different.
Like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So we really get different ideas and show the renters different things, which is great when you think of like BTRs. Like a lot of renters don't even know those are a thing. But if you're willing to live outside of a metro, then you're introduced to a supply that you didn't even understand was a thing, that you can actually get a single family home that rents just like an apartment, and you don't have to deal with kind of a landlord. You can deal with a big brand name and feel that security. So we're constantly trying to get supply in front of renters that they might not have known what is out there, and really understand them and bring things that are more of light into their search and just make it seamless. That, you know, most of renters do shop at night. Like who doesn't shop at night on the couch watching Housewives? Most leasing offices aren't open then to take the call. So it's so nice to just be able to get your questions asked and to book a tour and to know exactly what real pricing is and the real availability versus when I was in my 20s and living in DC before Apartment List was a thing, I would have to call every day because pricing changes, or it would be like, you know, ask for pricing every day. And you're like, I don't have time to do that while I'm working 9 to 5 and in traffic to like, and you just have the real time information, which I think really makes a difference.
Yeah. I remember like using it back in the day. This feels like Tinder, but for shopping for apartments.
I used to say that back when we like just started out. I was like, you might be single, and like that does not mean you want to date every man in Napa. You probably have some filtering that you want to do. Yeah. So let us know where your hard stops are, and then we'll introduce you to some other things that you might not have known about.
So James, you've been in this industry for 15 years.
Yes.
It has changed a lot. You got 5 years on me. I've only been 10 years in this industry. But how has the way you've approached marketing your business to the supply side changed in the last 15 years?
Great question. I think, first off, I came into this industry kind of by accident. I was selling formerly known Apartment Guide, was the previous name. Go walking in, trying to sell them my
Your magazines?
print to digital software that we were providing. So flew into Atlanta, had this great meeting. And I noticed there was a trend. They were taking all their money away from print and into digital, right? So that experience and trying to get clients alike to adopt this technology to spread the word of their properties was super challenging. It sounds ridiculous, but like, you know, and it was only 15 years ago, right? So to hear the words, if the internet is just a fad and no, we're good with just putting the books in the grocery stores, we're fine. Meanwhile, still spending the same amount of money, if not more, right? So the change then was, you know, obviously getting folks to move away from that tangible product, that printed vehicle that they're used to seeing, because they want to see what they've invested their money in, right? So that was the first iteration of the change. And now we're moving forward, and everything you hear about these days is AI driven. And how can AI help? There's still a bit of hesitancy when it comes to adopting that new technology, mainly because multifamily is a very, very people, you know, centric industry, right?
One of the last industries where you can talk to a human.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally.
And
Sacred.
And so I think it was, you know, I think AI should thank the pandemic and how people couldn't even go to properties and speak face to face with folks, had kind of, you know, made the popularity of AI that much greater, right? Because you have something there that can still have a conversation and book tours. And now there's all these touring companies, so you can see properties, right, and move into properties sight unseen, right? So it's now the conversation is becoming more about just allowing them to be open to adopting these new technologies, and how else should they be thinking about leasing out their apartments? And everybody's fighting for that piece of traffic. So, you know, we just gotta walk into every meeting with just the mindset of trying to push our clients to like let them think a different way from outside of what they've been thinking about how to rent for the last 30, 40 years, right? So, and a lot of folks, and especially here at Social Media Summit, are those type of innovators, and just, hopefully we're pioneers in pushing this new way of leasing apartments outside of picking up a printed book and then walking into the property and filling out the manual guest card, right? So I think that answers
absolutely.
somewhat. Okay.
Speaking of innovation, without getting a slap on the wrist from your product team, how will
They're not here.
They're not here. Don't ever tell salespeople what's on the roadmap. How is Apartment List going to be innovating this year and beyond?
Yeah, there's actually, so I hate to be like coming soon, but of course we do have some big things in the pipeline. I think really to kind of piggyback of what James was saying is like Apartment List has always like elevated the conversation or changed the way that our partners have thought about the business. When I jumped in 8 years ago, when James brought me in, pay per lease was the most wild thing that anybody, because in order to do it effectively, you have to have investments into the big property management systems, which isn't that easy to do, to have clean integrations, and you have to really invest in that. And that's something that we thought was really important to do. Now pay per lease doesn't sound so crazy.
Yeah, well, you've convinced us all that we're okay with
other partners can do it. Yeah. So, and then it became, well, you guys also cross-sell leases. You're selling to a portfolio. If there's not one bedrooms here and we send somebody, usually have a sister property down the road. That was kind of the next conversation that we changed the game with of what if our AI can start cross-selling for you? And since we're a pay-per-move-in provider, maybe we could be like a cross-sold lead within your portfolio. And if you're Cushman Wakefield and you have a bunch of ownership groups, we actually can limit that down to like a live core in just Vegas. We can keep the renters in that ecosystem. And so we've really like drilled down in that. You'll see more from us on the AI side coming out soon, and how we're going to invest more in our partners. And we really think that's the way to kind of keep going and to keep challenging conversations of the old school of conversion. It's like, the idea is that we can get more leads in your system and keep our cost per lease as absolutely low as possible. But in order to do that, we have to have the right funnel to make it work effectively. So we're always just having like those challenging conversations of how we can get better reporting, how we can even get our partners post-mortem reporting. So we can also see if we sent this property 100 leads and 2 moved in, and you have those like conversations in the middle of the night, the things that keep you up. You have an ownership meeting in the morning of like, I'm getting leads, but no one's leasing here. What's happening? We can actually see where the other 98 moved into and why, and start giving them some more color on. It might be price point. It might be location. It might be you're just too far down in search and we might want to look at Lyft to get you a little higher. So just giving our partners more visibility into the data that they can actually accurately, strategically make their budgeting moves to figure out what's working, and having a better look at attribution.
That's critical. I mean, there's so many new privacy laws, and it's really hard for people to track their data off their websites. Like, you had to like remove Google Pixel from something because it's harder now. And so that first party data is so critical for business decisions.
Totally. And really leaning in with our partners and getting away from the vendor buyer experience and really being a true partnership. Since the successes are aligned, it really lets us easily sit at the table with our partners and figure out what's the best benefit of their business and how we can be a better partner to them.
You're really supporting everyone's centralized model too with all that cross-sell.
Love it.
Smart. I also saw, is this you guys? Trevor showed me this, like, is it Sunny? It helps you schedule tours. What is that? Is it like a little side project? What's going on there?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have the mic on this one, but because it hasn't been hush hush, but it's been definitely that side hustle, right? And it's a separate ILS. It's all AI driven. We piloted it in Austin, Denver, maybe. And now it's fully blown. It's live. You can go on and check everything out. But yeah, like to have conversations as if you were talking to a real person through the app or through the website. And Trevor and I were talking about Sunny last night about he wanted to schedule tours throughout a weekend So having an AI tool just do all that for you instead of emailing and booking tours and lining up your day based upon geography that you could, if you don't live there, you don't really know if you're going to be zigzagging across the whole state. So yeah, just to have a tool that could answer your questions right then and there, and just taking the content and all the listing data that comes from apartment lists and just seamlessly apply it to another website, but allowing for a different kind of renter experience by having AI work those leads and just kind of let them do their thing. I think we're going to see a lot of great success and good case studies out of it. Just seeing how people interact with, potential leasing agent and if they can convert on a tour, and if that tour converts to a lease. There's going to be so many new findings coming from this website. We're really excited about it.
If you're a busy person or you just like have option overwhelmed to be like, hey, I'm free on Saturday from noon to 4 and I want to live in Denver, and then like plans your whole route, that's so brilliant.
Yeah. Well, we're not there yet, but hope that's the kind of
Tell your
roadmap. Yeah,
product
we're good on it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, yeah.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon. And I'm going to go play around with Sunny after this.
Absolutely. Thanks. Same here.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.